A while back, it was probably like March-ish, I was scrolling on Steam for any interesting games. Ignoring the giant backlog of games I definitely had that I could have played, I chose to browse. I found a cool looking hidden object game called I Commissioned Some Bees Zero, skimmed through the description and went, this'll be fun to play. I then didn't play it until November. Apparently I found another game to look through. Honestly, it makes sense. I can be extremely scatterbrained when I want to. The game was made by a studio called Follow the Fun. A lot of the studio's catalog is comprised of the I Commissioned Some Blank series. All follow a similar presence of trying to click on a certain type of animal within pieces of commissioned art. The series literally has its own sub-series. It's crazy. Most of the games are paid, but I Commissioned Some B0 is free, and it's linked in the description, which was pretty cool. Back to November, I randomly found the game in my Steam library one night, decided to play it. I don't really remember why, I just kind of did. It was pretty fun. The game has 10 levels. These aren't in order. Graveyard, Dragon Tree, Forgotten Stationery, Toy Store, Thinking Mushrooms, Cafe Courtyard, Helm Kingdom, Parking Lot, Farming Day, and Wilderness Brook. Each level in the game has a different piece of art with a completely different style. In each level, there's a certain amount of bees scattered through it. They can be hidden behind objects, but they always have the same position. Sometimes the bees have colors, so they're actually semi-easy to see, but for some levels, they're literally just outlines that really blend into the background, which is so fun and definitely does not make me want to lose my mind. In addition to the bees, there's another form of collectible. Certain levels will have any combination of a honeypot, beekeeping outfit, honeycomb, beehive, and or that weird stick that the Cheerios bee uses. Clicking all of the bees and all of the collectibles are necessary to complete the level. Went through the first few levels and then went, wait, I should 100% this. So I did. And it was fun. It was cool. It was awesome. It was so super cool. It was pretty easy, considering there was a glorified solve this for me please, I'm a little baby who can't do things for myself button. I used it more times than I really want to admit. After I got even more bored, I was browsing speedrun.com and went, oh wait, what if this game has a category? I mean, it probably doesn't. It seems like a pretty small game. Wait, there actually is one? And it's not entirely dead? The last run was by Amnesia, running levels 1, 3, and 7 2 months ago. I'm guessing they're probably someone like me who found the category on a whim and decided to get some runs in where they could. A lot of the runs were done 9 months ago when the game's speedrunning stuff actually began, and there haven't been as many recent ones as of late. Overall, lots of the runs are super short, with the longest being 2 minutes 15 seconds on level 6. Gears, cogs, and leftover gum in my brain began to turn, and they gave me a cool idea. I could try speedrunning a few of these levels. I mean, it shouldn't be super hard and will make for a pretty cool video. Or at least something not JoJo related, which sounds so nice after spending forever on the last 2 vids. So after basically zero debating, because it's my own mind and the choice was pretty obvious, I began my journey of speedrunning I Commissioned Some Bees. My goal by the end was to claim 6 speedruns for the individual levels of the game. I originally was like, oh yeah, I could also do a full game run too. I mean, that would be really climactic, right? I then scolded myself for being dumb, because there's actually no way I can remember the locations of nearly 700 objects and have fun. So, I'm going to be attempting to get the world record in Toy Store, Cafe Courtyard, Thinking Mushrooms, Parking Lot, Helm Kingdom, and finally, the most difficult level of the game, Wilderness Brook. With my goal set out, my task began. 6 speedruns? I got this. Wait, don't start the video yet. Before the actual meat of this video begins, I'd like to humbly request that if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a subscriptor. Oh my god, wait, I can finally do it. I've seen YouTubers do this, and now I can as well. I'm one of them. Only 0.4% of my viewers are actually subscribed. Only 0.4? That's crazy. What? So please, if you enjoy this video, let's make that percent A little higher than 1, please. Let's go. It's bead running time. Alright, the first stop on the 6-legged abomination of a journey is level 3 of the game, TOYSTORE. This is the first level I decided to start with, and honestly, I could have made far worse decisions. The art uses a square photo depicting lots of children's toys in a childlike drawing with thick outlines. This is my favorite level artistically, just because it's so pretty to look at and the colors are pretty sweet. This level has 68 bees in total, with a lot of them congregating in the top left and middle of the image. It also has all 5 of the assorted collectibles. This level actually makes the collectibles really integrate with the art, as most of them are placed onto the objects within the room. For example, the beekeeping suit is on this little toy figure mannequin thing, it's cute. These runs, I had a strategy to which I would like to call the path method. Instead of just randomly clicking on whatever bees you can see, start in the middle of the image where your camera starts and pick another section nearby. Then, you find all the bees in that section, and keep going until you eventually hit the end of your path, with hopefully, all of the bees. This strategy helped me memorize the locations of each of the bees better, because instead of trying to memorize 68 locations, it was just, say, 10 or so at a time. It also helped me focus on just clicking much more. For most of these runs during this level, I would start in the middle of the screen, get the few bees up above the middle, and then make a beeline, pun intended, right to the shelf. I'd go through the shelf, making sure to get the hive at the top of it. I'd then continue on down, then through the left shelf. Finally, I'd end it by getting all the bees at the top of the image. My first run, I missed the hive, which ate up very much precious time, but gave me a not awful time of 1 minute 24 seconds to 80. After attempting to try again, my OBS started shattering reality on the menu screen. For my second attempt, I tried doing a weird backwards form of my path, and it wasn't awful until... See how I completely missed that? Be prepared to see me fail to find certain bees a lot, a handful more of attempts, and I got to 1 minute and 5 seconds flat. After a handful more, I got to 56 seconds, which is perfect because it got to the sub-minute mark. Immediate next run after that, I got to 52.78, which would have given me the record for that run, but I wanted to go further. Finally, I got the run. I was able to end this with a good 51 seconds, 2:30, which I will most definitely take. This gave me hope that, hey, I could actually do this. This might actually be fun and not hell. I'm saying this like it's meant to be foreboding, but it's really not meant to be. What a cozy little cafe level. I love this. This is actually a pretty enjoyable level to go through. I just had music playing in my headphones while I relaxed and played nice and comfy. The level itself has a nice even 100 bees with 5 of the collectibles. The bees are all smaller, so it still presented a good challenge. The newest AJR album had been released either that night or a few days before, and I got to just sit down and spend some time listening to it. I actually really enjoyed it. It's a bit different from their other stuff, but the lyrics and instrumentals were really awesome. Getting back to the actual gameplay, the time to beat was 1 minute 22 from good ol' Amnesia. For my first run, I got a 2 minute 23 because I missed the honeypot that just really blended into the background. And after a few suboptimal runs that shaved my time down bit by bit, I hit 1 minute 21, which beat Amnesia's time by a single second. I thought I could refine it a slight bit, so I kept going until the cafe listened to me. 1 minute 16 to round off everything. Pretty swell. A bit of time had passed since the last 2 runs, and I was bored on a call with Lex as they were speedrunning the Bluey video game. They're the number 3 record holder, by the way, just saying. I was watching them speedrun this game when I realized that I still had a duty to speedrun a game about bees. Thinking mushrooms is a pretty easy level. It's a drawing of a girl sitting on a bridge with lots of mushrooms around her. Obviously, it has mushrooms. The level's name is literally Thinking Mushrooms. What were you thinking? It's got a total of 98 bees with a hive, honeycomb, and what I just googled to be what's called a honey dipper. I expected it to have a weird or wacky name, but honestly, that fits. I mean, that's literally just what it is. It's a tool that's used to dip honey. Pretty accurate name. The bees in this level are all spaced out pretty far apart, with no area that they're mainly crowded in. The time to beat was 1 minute 26 from breakaway. For my first run, I missed a few bees, costing me a lot of time. After being completely lost to where these two bees were, I discovered that they were right around the same area, mostly obscured by their mushroom companions. In one of the runs after this, I lost to another bee behind a mushroom, except it was on the other side of the bridge. That's Mushroom Bees 3, Dylan 0. After a few runs that got just under 26 seconds, I made a huge cut, getting one that was 1 minute 16 seconds. I hadn't gone at this one for a super long time, so I decided to keep going to see if I could get a little bit better. A few attempts later, I got my final time for this level. 1 minute, 14 seconds, and some change. Who won now, Mushroom Bees? Who won now? This is the only level where I had to make 2 separate recordings for my attempt. The level has a very similar art style to TOYSTORE. It's a picture of a small parking lot, as the name suggests, with a bunch of different cars in it. It's got a warm color palette that makes it feel pretty comfy. The level has 110 bees that are all fairly big, so it's not a hard level in the slightest. It also has all 5 of the extra collectibles. For most of my runs, I would start in the middle and get all of the bees to the north of this divider here. I would then go up near the tree, to the right of the cars, and finish up by getting the area just below the divider. For being my very first run of this level, I surprisingly got it first try without missing any of the objects. I got 1 minute 27:27 as my time, which could have been worse, but definitely could have been improved. I missed a collectible on my second run, but I was still able to shave off 6 seconds. Yada yada, few runs go by, and I reduced my time to 1 minute 8 seconds 9:30, which is just a little bit slower than the record. I wasn't able to cut my PR any more than that, so I gave it a rest for some reason, even though I was only at it for less than half an hour. Our story resumes probably like a few days later. The timeline got really fuzzy, so I don't remember it fully. But anyways, I started trying again. And with my very first run of that session, I beat the record with 1 minute 7 seconds. And blah blah blah, kept doing runs, whatever. You've heard this before. I ended with 1 minute 6 seconds 650. Now this is the second hardest step of our little journey. It's like if you were at a diner and instead of just ordering the cake like a normal human being, you ordered a cookie beforehand. Except the cookie was triple layered and had frosting. This level and the next are very interesting as no one's actually completed a run for them. Levels 2, 9, and 10 are the only runs in this category that no one has attempted so far. I shall be the start of these level runs. Obviously, I didn't want to submit the first run I got in this level, because even if it would be a record, it seemed anticlimactic. So, my goal for this level was 1 minute 30. I later changed that to 2 minutes after realizing that this level is hard. This level is an absurdly detailed piece of art. There's the stuff you would typically see in the sky, a bunch of angry pirate bats, a cloud with a face on it, a town resting on the helm of a giant, same old, same old. There's 111 bees with all 5 collectibles yet again. This run has nearly 40 minutes of raw footage of attempted runs. This one was really the only one that truly upset me within my soul. There's so many things happening at once in this image with so many different areas that it is very hard to keep track of any bees at any time. A lot of the time I would miss simple ones like this one here on the fence or this one behind the farmer. It doesn't help either that a good quarter of them are hidden very well behind objects. Trying to find a path through this mess was, safe to say, difficult. I started in this, I was gonna say quaint house, but that's not quite right. I made sure to get all the bees I could, even the one up by this dude's fishing pole. I then would go right to this hot air balloon and up to the impersonation cloud's farm. I'd follow the border of the image around the top until I hit this weird apartment building thing and traveled down. I got to the giant and got all the bees in his various crevices. Finally, if I was lucky, I would finish it up by getting all of them on the rightmost balloon. I was not lucky for most of these runs. These runs had some of the most missing bees out of any other level. Sometimes it was 1 or 2, and sometimes it was upwards of 4 or 5. Not fun. Hell, for the first run, I missed 12. 12 bees out of 111. That is great. So I got 3 minutes 29. Not great. I definitely could do better. After more time playing this glorified CIA torture device, I was able to cut my time down to 2 minutes 42, which is really not that much better. I mean, that's alright. Let's just skip another 10 minutes of footage. Oh, 2 minutes 46. Really? That's worse than the last one. Oh my god. But the times eventually began to slow down. Drops from 10 seconds to 20 until eventually I got 1 minute 57 to 20. And here it is, friends. The final step of this journey. The hardest level I attempted, but it was surprisingly less infuriating than the previous one. The level is actually really, really pretty. It's a little riverscape with a bunch of cute animals surrounding it and using it. Frogs, birds, raccoons, the whole shebang. My eyes appreciate the palette too. Dark greens and browns, my type of colors. There are 252 bees in this one, more than any other level in the game. A little more than double the amount from the last level. Little also fun part of this level, the bees aren't colored in. You heard it first, folks. Instead of them being yellow, meaning them being easy to see, all of the bees are just outlines. This makes things even more difficult. And there's all 5 of the collectibles as well, which makes this so fun, but it's alright. I've trained for this. Those 5 levels were practice for this one. I've got this. This one had no record set in it, so I set an imaginary goal for 2 minutes 30. Just like last time, my hubris overcame me and overestimated my skills. I set the new, and actually reasonable goal to around 3 minutes. Even if that would make this the longest run for the individual levels, I felt it was fair considering the fact that this was, the most bees to ever exist in a level so far, i.e. more bees for me to click, more time required. This run has 59 minutes of footage, just because of how expansive this level is. For my first run, I got 4 minutes 15 seconds, which is a giant run if you judge it based on the times of the other levels. After optimizing it a bit and running through it a few more times, I was able to speed it up to 3 minutes 22 seconds. Nearly 20 minutes pass before I can get this close again, but after I finally do, I'm able to get 3 minutes 5 seconds. I am almost there. And then, victory struck. This was it, my final attempt for this challenge. No more bees after this one. There were far less issues. The bees on the raccoon were accounted for. I didn't miss the one in the corner by the deer. I clicked all the ones on the cart. My bees were in a row. And there we go. The final click. 2 minutes, 55 seconds, 380 milliseconds. I had done it. I had won. No more bees. Well, that was certainly a fun journey. I'm fairly sure I gave myself early onset arthritis or something, because my wrist was constantly pushed into my wooden desk while I clicked most likely over 1,000 or 2,000 times. So that'll be interesting. Can you actually imagine if this is the way my arm is fucked up for life? Because of a bee video? That's crazy. Speaking of bees, I feel like I've lost all semblance to the concept of what a bee is. What makes a bee a bee? What form does it take if its physical body is lost? What do bees taste like? Why can I see bees when I close my eyes? My therapist is going to have a very interesting story after our next meeting. A very interesting story. Overall, Steam says I've played this game for 7 hours, so it's safe to say this took a while. If you enjoyed any part of this video, you should totally sub, because I'm awesome, I'm so cool, and I'm the bestest. If you're interested in seeing my actual runs, either you can check out the speedrun.com community, which I'll link below, or you can just check out the trim cuts of the footage, which I'll also link below. I haven't ever speedran anything before, but I actually kinda enjoyed it. I might try to do another video with a similar presence eventually, but I think I'm gonna take a break from speedrunning, or beadrunning, and work on some other stuff in the meantime. I really hope you enjoyed this video. This has, and it always will be, Dylan. Have a great night.